Good day to you. I think I do that because I fucking hate introductions, and I think that's the best way around it. Yeah, we're at episode 6, and this one, it's in podcast form, but the best way to see this one is on YouTube because it's got a lot going on, and it's called "What Difference Does It Make?" And it's myself, and I'm interviewing a guy called David Wiess, who is a charismatic flat earther who has a lot of what he would say is evidence to prove that the world is actually a flat plane electromagnetic biodome. So, open mind for sure on this one. I know when you say flat earth, everyone goes nuts and starts feeling like their reality has been slipped from their floor. But for some reason, when you say simulation, it isn't as crazy. But that's my job, to mediate, explore, expand our consciousness, find out what the truth is, if there is a truth, or if we are just in GTA and we don't even know it. Who knows? But I take this one with an open mind and I question him where I can. I'm not a physics professor or an an astrologist or an astrophysicist or a cosmologist, but I am a person who can research just like any other before they go down that process, just not down the university road. But yeah, this one is interesting for sure, but it's definitely a YouTube one, and I won't be disappointed that I'm not going to get the same amount of listens. But if you're watching it, you're still seeing it, still observing it, still learning from it. Not sure what you're learning, but it's interesting. So just get over to that YouTube, and if you hit that like button and subscribe, that would really help me out as well. I'm pretty low on the old YouTube because obviously I started this in a podcast way. And again, the mugs, I will be putting the sample or proof picture of what they look like, and they take 16 days to do, from when I started saying I was going to do them for the patrons, but they actually I'm sorry to go on so long in the introduction also, but leading to this fantastic interview, you're going to like it. But yes, to the mugs, they basically they sent me a few and I just didn't like them, and now the alignment's right on the logo and everything else, and the mug's right, so I'm going forward with it. So it shouldn't take more than sort of 10 days. So those Patreons that are supporting me for £1.99 a month, they're getting a mug which is costing me a lot more than that, and I could sell it for a lot more than that, but we give to each other in these ways. So yeah, if you haven't already and you do listen, because I know there's more of you than 7 or 12 patrons, because I can see, it would really help me out. And but I don't mind if you can't afford it, that's fine. If you just want to listen, spread the message, spread the word. I'm just trying to be funny and philosophical at the same time, and work out just as much as anyone else is trying to work out from a shed. So yes, I will lead you into this interview. I do introduce it a little bit again just with David, but I hope you enjoy it, and do please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube if you go and have a look. Thank you, and enjoy.
It's like they've really spun a web. Our consciousness,
I can't describe how it
is slightly false.
To me, it's a slightly darker version.
Because there is
But I could look into my
collective consciousness.
Imagination.
Truth is what real reality is based on.
Art in art as well.
Oh my crazy. Yeah.
Your art is there.
Just because you say it's like that doesn't mean I'm going to read it.
They still don't know where consciousness is. So when I'm meditating... Yeah, I bet you do.
It's basically your heart.
Really?
Yeah.
Hello, Shed members. This is episode 6. What difference does it make? And today I'm with a very interesting guest whose perception of reality is that we are on a flat plane, electromagnetic biodome, or most commonly known as the flat Earth. I don't know any astronauts yet, and I've only ever been told it's a globe, so I'm going into this with an open mind, and I think you should too. So let's find out from the creator of Flat Earth app and the Flat Earth podcast, David Wiess. Welcome to the shed, David, via Zoom. I've got my first question for you really is just to give a bit of context to yourself is what started the rabbit hole journey for you?
It's funny that you call that because my YouTube channel is deep inside the rabbit hole, DITRH, and I did a podcast on conspiracies, things, deceptions in this world, of which there are plenty. And then people started sending me flat Earth stuff, and like any normal, intelligent human being, I would tell them that they're complete morons, and I'd ban them from our social media for even suggesting that I watch a stupid flat Earth video. But they kept on coming. They kept on coming. And then somebody who I trust a lot said, David, I think the Earth might be flat. And I'm like, not you too, Sophia. And she's like, watch this. And she sent me a couple videos. And I went in, see, you're here with an open mind. Awesome. I went in with a closed mind going, flat Earth is stupid. I'm going to debunk this crap and it's going to be over. And that's how you become a flat earther. When you either try to prove the globe or disprove flat Earth, nothing works out in your favor.
Yeah.
And then, and here I am, I walked away. I had my own company. I had what I'll call the American dream. I worked my way up through corporate America, left corporate America, started my own company, was making more money than I ever thought I could make. And I walked away from it all to spread this message. Why? Why does the shape of the Earth matter? It doesn't. It's who we are, where we are, what we are, and our true potential that's being stolen from us.
Yeah.
So that's why flat Earth matters. During these crazy times, I don't think in our lifetimes or in our known history, there's ever been a crazier time than now. So why the hell am I talking about flat Earth? Because the globe lie is the reason they're getting away with all this nonsense.
Yeah, that literally leads to my my next question, which was there's obviously a deeper level because I think there's many trigger words to people, which is like conspiracy, flat Earth, religion can even be one to some people. So I think
by design.
Yeah, by design. So I think when you separate the actual meaning and go into the context of what the deeper level of understanding, what it means. I mean, if you can believe it's a globe, it shouldn't be so mad to believe it's flat in that sense.
Again, I don't believe the Earth is flat. I know it's not a globe, scientifically provable. But here's the thing: the people that try to defend the globe, people that just gut reaction, flat Earth is stupid, try to defend the globe, have a couple things in common. One, they don't know what the flat Earth is. They think this is the flat Earth because when they Google flat Earth, this is what they see. No flat Earther thinks that, right? No flat Earther thinks, they're like, what? Are we a disk planet, and with all the other round planets, right? This is a meme by the Flat Earth Society. We don't believe that we're disks in space, balls in space. We don't even believe in space because space is scientifically impossible. So what is flat Earth, right? So knowing what flat Earth is, everyone has a misconception of it. Knowing the globe, people don't know their own globe model. Right? You've probably done a little bit of research. You know the circumference of the Earth?
No, not that's probably the only one I didn't do. 46,000 or something.
It's 24,901 miles around. Yeah. You know how fast it's orbiting the sun?
Something like 66,000. Yeah,
66.6. Funny number, right? Yeah. So what is the flat Earth? If it's not a disk floating in space, the way I describe it is we live in a giant pond, right? Yeah. A pond is a body of water that lays flat when at rest, and the edge of the pond is where the land is higher than the Earth, right?
Yeah.
So the land that surrounds our world is the shoreline of Antarctica. This is the shoreline of our world. It's the higher land of the world. Science tells us that Antarctica, this continent at the bottom of a ball, is the highest land on Earth. That's true. They tell us some truth, but it's the land that surrounds our pond. It's the container of our pond. Large bodies of water at rest need a container. If you had a bucket of water and remove the bucket, the water's gone. If you had a pond and remove the sides of the pond, the water's gone, right? If you had an ocean and remove the sides of the ocean,
Yeah.
the water's gone.
Yeah.
We live in the Antarctic basin. What's out here in the outer space across the plane,
Yeah.
right? Who knows? We don't know because it is off limits.
The
And
only
one of
the
go
only
ahead.
thing I see with that with your app as well, surely if we are surrounded by something like the Truman Show dome, then surely couldn't you get onto the outskirts of any kind of land that there is and just sail directly outward, and you would find an ice wall?
Yeah, well, there is an ice wall. It's a matter of fact. First, if you look at Antarctica, if you Google Antarctica from space,
Yeah.
this is what you see, right? And they're all cartoons, right? So when you look up the ice wall, you get pictures like these two top pictures, but in reality, here's a photo of the ice wall, right? And when people say, show me a picture of the ice wall, well, how about I show you some videos of the ice wall, right? This is what they want us to believe flat Earth is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this is what flat Earth is. This is the shoreline of Antarctica, okay? The shoreline of Antarctica. And when you get there, there's a 200-foot high plateau of ice that goes on and on and on, and you're not allowed to go out there, right?
So where are the points where you would get stuck? I mean, if it goes all the way around the world, wouldn't there be because you're only going ahead towards Antarctica? If you headed from a completely opposite direction from like the bottom of Australia,
Antarctica is the land that surrounds us. Here's Australia. Head south, which is away from the center. Antarctica from Santiago, or from that's South Africa, Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Head south. That's Antarctica. Over on the other end,
Yeah.
every direction away from the center is south.
Yeah.
Every direction that you point is essentially south. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
You understand how that works?
Yeah, no, I understand how that works. But it could, I mean, it's just hard to unthink how that would still work on a globe at the same time.
Well, it does. It works perfectly on a
Yeah,
globe.
exactly. That's what I mean.
So if you go in a straight line on a globe, you end up hitting Antarctica. You'll end up hitting Antarctica, except on the equator.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So except on the equator, like Amelia Earhart, when she did her alleged circumnavigation, she just went around west or east. It's a circle. Went around in a circle, and that's not on a globe, right? If you're on a globe,
yeah,
and you're 1 mile from the North Pole, okay? So you got to point. Let's pretend there's an actual pole there, and you point towards the pole,
yeah,
right? You want to go west, you got to go 90 degrees to that, but you're only 1 mile, so you got to keep turning because you want that right angle to the pole. So you're going to go, and it's not, I always say 3.14, but it's 6.28 miles later. You'll be right back to where you started from because you went around the pole. So this is west. This is east.
East, yeah,
It works
yeah.
the same it works the same on a flat Earth.
Yeah, but
and on a globe Earth.
But that could be a problem in itself because it doesn't definitively say, well, if you can say it can work the same on a globe and work the same on the flat, then it isn't the best proof you've got. I know you've got some more proofs anyway.
Yeah. So here I'm pushing. This is just what I described. You got your magnet at the center.
Yeah.
And the compass always has to point north. So I'm trying to go west. West is a circle.
Yeah.
This again works on a globe, works on a flat Earth. I always in the north of the equator, which is the line right here, I have to always correct to the north. If we were on a globe, I'd have to correct to the south of the equator. But now watch this. If I try to dead reckon, like I set my compass for dead west and I close my eyes and I don't correct to the north, I'm heading south.
Yeah.
I'm heading south. And so we've have testimony from ship's captains that are trying to dead reckon east and west in the southern oceans, and they say that they always have to correct to the north. If we're on a ball, they'd have to correct to the south.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're correcting to the north. So there is some evidence that something's wrong.
So I saw the other day you said that you're willing to give something like 120,000 or
3 Bitcoins. It's a
3
very
Bitcoins.
price. It's 180 grand today.
hope it don't drop.
Yeah.
But surely wouldn't you be able to do some sort of expedition yourself to give visual proof? Because I think that's what main people are going by. They're not going to be so into the physics, the north, the west, if they can see. Seeing is believing, I think, to the perception of what it is being flat, because I think the globe model has been so projected, so programmed, that it's so hard to kind of get around the fact that is, not true. That what sort of side of evidence could you bring that would give visual?
Yeah.
Apart from the Arctic wall.
Yeah. So again, billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. Nobody's done it south. All right.
Yeah.
So there's the thing called the Antarctic Treaty.
Yeah.
In 1959, the story is Admiral Byrd, did some missions, Project High Jump, went out to Antarctica and said there's more land bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever set eyes upon. All right, let's go. Let's, how countries are fighting for resources and stuff. But then they put the Antarctic Treaty in, which says nobody, no corporation, no country, nobody is allowed to independently explore Antarctica. You're not even allowed to bring fuel south of 60 degrees of the 60 degrees south parallel, right?
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to go there. There's islands, like the Falklands Islands. Remember the Falkland War?
Yeah.
All these islands around that are controlled by the Crown. There's military bases on there. And if you try to approach Antarctica, you'll be stopped by a destroyer and you'll either be sunk or, and you'll be turned around and you'll be put to jail. I watched a video the other day of some fishermen that tried to do it, and literally a destroyer came after them, a drone came after them, said, you must turn around, leave these waters immediately. They were just trying to go fishing.
Yeah. Within the Arctic Treaty, though, I did have a look at it. Does it definitively say that you can't, no trespassing in it?
Nothing is,
it's always coded.
It's super coded. And they make it so let me show you. I can show you on the app here.
Yeah.
They make it so it's really difficult. If you want to go to Antarctica, you have all of these permits to fill out with all these different agencies, all these different companies. It'll take you a year to fill them out. It'll cost you like $200,000 in permit fees. Then it'll take a year for them to deny you.
Yeah.
And then they keep your money.
Yeah.
Okay. So literally, it's just red tape inside of red tape. But on the app, on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, if you hit the frequently asked questions question mark, and then you go over to what about Antarctica and the 24-hour sun?
Yeah.
This is all stuff on Antarctica. You scroll down, there's a video here called Sorry, Antarctica is Closed. Now, that's a lawyer, flat Earth researcher that spent, I don't know, he must have taken him a year to pull all the information together, and he put it together for you in a 30-minute video.
Yeah.
Right? So you can spend the next year researching flat Earth. You probably won't find as much information that he documents. Now, this is a video. Like, oh, you believe a video on YouTube? This is a documentary showing what you have to do. He'll save you hundreds and hundreds of hours of research to find out that trying to get to Antarctica is nearly futile.
I think that is one of the arguments that people might have, though, is that it's a bit of what's it called? I read it somewhere. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, that a 30-minute video could educate someone rather than an astrophysicist or a cosmologist. Or
funny you should mention that. My co-host Jaron from Jaronism and I just debated an astrophysicist, a doctor, an astrophysicist, an astrophysicist super fan, and an F-16 pilot, and we destroyed them. They're theoretical physics. It's all nonsense, and we simply destroyed them. That's coming out, should be coming out this week, I hope.
Yeah. All right, I'll have a look at that one. So, I mean, I've heard you say a thing that there's no new questions, only dumb ones. But I mean, the main question that everyone probably has is why would, for me, it's kind of obvious in some senses why corporations lie in a capitalist society. But why would, NASA lie? And why would they build such an infrastructure around a whole entire lie?
Well, NASA is nothing. NASA, in my opinion, stands for not a space agency.
Yeah, the CIA called it that one, didn't they?
Yeah. So NASA is literally just a deception. NASA has sent nobody to space. right? What? Wait, no one to space? That's baloney. I've seen rocket launches. You've seen all sorts of garbage. Okay, it's all a head game to make you think you live on a ball. Why do they want to make us think we live on a ball? Because if you believe you live on a ball, you believe that we're running out of resources, that we're running out of, we're overpopulated. You believe in climate change. You believe in food shortages. You believe that we're running out of all sorts of resources. You believe that we're flying through an infinite galaxy when, where an asteroid could take us out at any moment. Okay.
Yeah.
All of that is nonsense. That limits you and gets you not to reach your full potential, not to know that you are at the center of creation. So here is, this is what you have to believe. Right?
Yeah.
You have to believe that you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, as we discussed. That means you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound when the sun is going down. Okay. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where you're chasing the sun at, a 66, no, 100,000, no, 500,000 miles an hour. I'm sorry. Okay. Make myself a little smaller here. You're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. You're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, right? All of this is going on and we don't feel anything, right? This is the hypersonic track sled. Watch this. This is going to go by a Mach 8.6. Okay. Mach 8.6. Right. Now, you have to believe that we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. We're chasing the sun at 100 times faster than that. But when we go out into nature, we see this. Okay. This is impossible. You can't have stationary, flat, calm water when we're going in all these different directions and water remains perfectly level and flat. This is insanity.
Yeah, I mean, but then you have, a physicist, or they would say around, that you have, it's like if you're on a moving truck and then you're in the back of the truck and you throw a tennis ball to the other person there, the ball doesn't fly in the opposite direction. It stays with your movement.
It kind of does. As soon as it leaves the thrower's hand, it will have that initial momentum, but then it will slow down because it's not connected to the inertial frame that it was originally attached to. When we send balloons up to 100,000 feet, 120,000 feet, we're detached from the Earth, but somehow we remain, above the same land. We even outrun the spin of the Earth. It's insane. So the whole idea, like people say, well, in an airplane, I could drink water and I could walk to the bathroom. And I say, well, now take off the outside of the airplane, double the speed, and let me know how your glass of water is doing, and and how your trip to the bathroom is, because we live on the outside of a ball, adjacent to a vacuum. That's impossible. Okay, and that just breaks the laws of physics. How does air stick to a ball adjacent to a vacuum? The second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. So there's some sort of physical barrier that's holding our air to this flat plane.
But then others would say it's gravity, right?
Well, that's what they would say. But gravity first is a theory. You ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he goes, "What is gravity?" I don't know. He says, But they have to make up.
Drops the mic.
Drop the mic. That's buoyancy and density. So they have to make up 96% of it. Okay. With dark matter and dark energy. It's never been seen, but they say, well, there has to be, otherwise gravity doesn't work. Right. And then gravity, which gravity you're talking about, Einsteinian or Newtonian? They changed it now to bending of space-time. Well, bending the fabric of space. Well, how does the Earth bend the fabric of space this way? Why isn't it bended this way or this way or that? What fabric are we talking about? It's all theoretical nonsense. Okay. All nonsense.
So against that, how can do you think, NASA has an army of minds and an army of facts and evidence, theories or facts and evidence, how you want to put it. How do you think you can actually, rather than an app, but bring sort of a whole entire structure to show exactly what it is? From the way, because I think we're still at a point.
What army of evidence does NASA have?
Well, in the sense of theories, you behind showed their whole entire way that they show that the solar system and the Earth works, and the inside. But I know from what they've said that the finding the inside of what the Earth is like, they haven't even really gone that far. Also, NASA did start with the ocean. Did you know that one?
I think so.
They did actually start with the ocean. My girlfriend actually said, she blew me away with some conspiracy facts, but she said that basically that they actually started with the ocean for about a week, and then they decided they didn't want to go there. So for me, that's kind of a bit of a mad one.
That's a little crazy. If you look at NASA, if you look at anything that they do, it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, if I catch NASA lying once,
yeah,
then you can unwind it to we never went to the moon. So you look at the International Space Station, for example.
Yeah,
they never tested it on Earth. They never built it on Earth. They built it in space. Different countries are sending up modules. They're connecting them, and they didn't take any photos or video of the whole thing being built. Okay, this thing's traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, and one country will send up one piece, the other one will send up the other, but they made different doors. Okay,
yeah.
So they had to create an adapter. This is the adapter to connect them. Right? How ridiculous is this? Right? And all of the vital controls are on the outside of the space station, unlike a submarine that has everything on the inside, which makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
This thing's been up there for over 20 years. It's never had a problem. It's scientifically impossible, and they forgot to film it. They have no video of it being built. There's no photos of it being built, okay, other than this animation, and people just want to believe that.
Yeah.
Right. But then on the space station, if you watch what they do, we catch them in, making mistakes all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the hanging off. What would you call it? Where they're swinging, really.
Wires.
Being held up by wires. I've seen different. I saw one the other day where a ball dropped when they was meant to have zero gravity, and it dropped straight to the floor, and the others tried to grab it. But then also he kind of clutched it. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But still, he is kind of clutching that in a way that you would think
he could push it
he
down.
could push it down. So that's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah. But again, we can't this. There's plenty that you really can't second guess. Like watching this guy go around the corner, his arm becomes transparent. His arm is transparent.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's because this is all done with green screens. Some of it's done on a zero-G plane. Like this guy went tumbling down the hallway. If you watch the whole video.
Yeah.
And he's on a zero-G plane, and they just edited it together. And there's no right-hand turn on a zero-G plane, so they had to fade. They had to fade him out. This one here was the end of a press conference. These guys are hanging from wires, and all of a sudden, everything that was floating in front of this green screen glitched out.
Yeah.
Right. So.
So then I think. So my next point with this, I mean, you look at the UFO phenomenon now. Now the UN saying, okay, there are unidentified flying objects. And then you've got things like the NSA, Edward Snowden, whistleblowers. You've got Julian Assange. You've got all these people within the realms of war and crime, and I would say conflict against the people. People against the government. These whistleblowers have come out. Why do you think there isn't? I know there's a Polish astronaut that said the world is flat, but within NASA, there's zero that have really come out and said, untrue. Everything we're doing is it untrue?
Untrue.
Well, you would know.
Yeah, if you look at Buzz Aldrin, he was interviewing a little girl, and she said, "Why have we never gone back to the moon?" And he kind of stumbled and said, "Well, because we never went, and that's the way it was. And if we didn't go, then we should kind of want to know why it didn't happen, right?" A little cryptic, I'll give you that. And then another time, just recently, he was on the Conan O'Brien show.
Yeah.
And Conan's like, I saw you. I watched you live walk on the moon. He goes, "No, you didn't." And he goes, "We didn't have television cameras up there. You were watching animation, right? That's taking it one step farther.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing: the people that went to the moon, supposedly, they're not allowed to talk about this stuff. They have they're controlled in a way where they can never speak out. Buzz Aldrin, he's a little bit of a recluse.
Yeah, he likes to
has three
drink.
things. Yeah, well, and they changed his name from Edwin to Buzz after he became a drunk. Okay, that's kind
Fucking
of
with him.
interesting.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, there's other theories around, like Stanley Kubrick made, the moon landing. But then, do you know Dr. Steve Greer?
Yeah, I know Dr. Steve Greer.
So
is.
his kind of stance on it is that they actually did go to the moon, but they were then found, or they came across extraterrestrials, or us, or whoever.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. Well, what? But you
Cool
could.
story. I used to believe the same thing because I couldn't believe that they faked the moon. So I'm like, oh, they faked it because they're hiding extraterrestrials. They're hiding, they're hiding civilizations on Mars. At one point, I thought there was 400,000 people living on the backside of the moon. Right? I mean, I was brain damaged to believe that. So.
Or from one rabbit hole to another.
Yeah. And then when we look at the photo from the moon with the Earth, we take it off of NASA's website, we put it into Photoshop, we crank up the levels, and we can see that it is Photoshopped into the picture crappily because they didn't even turn it into a PNG. They just put it in there. And then, you watch, that's the problem. That's a huge problem. And then we watch the actual footage from the moon, and we can see that they're hanging from wires, right? He drops his hammer, and he can't pick it up because I believe he actually has a big balloon to him that's making him light, and he's trying to get down, and he can't get enough momentum to get it. Okay?
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward movement there.
It's a bit of an awkward movement. I mean, don't become a NASA apologist because you have to look at this stuff and then, see. And the other thing is, why don't we see any stars, right? Space from Earth, space from space.
Yeah.
They can't fake the stars.
Yeah.
Right. So they give us black and they go, well, the aperture of the camera. But I could take a crappy iPhone and look at a star behind a street light. Okay.
Yeah.
Where the light of that should, that's way that should not happen. But we can. So this whole aperture thing, the stars, if space was real, should be far brighter than this because you're looking through all this atmosphere that's making them dimmer.
Yeah.
Right. And then they show us, stuff like this is a shot from orbiting the moon. Look at this. This is a freaking claymation model.
So would you say that on a flat Earth, on this plane, that there are stars, there is a solar system, there is a moon, or it's all a hologram above, or?
Oh, I don't want to use the word hologram, but everything that we see in the sky above us is our lights within the Earth system. We don't know how big they are or how far they are. That's something that we took these theoretical physicists guys and rake them over the coals because you can't determine the sun is 93 million miles away unless you know the distance or size. And the way they tell us they determine the size of the sun, that would make the moon the same distance because the moon is the same size. They're making up crap, right? And they use the radius of the Earth to determine all these things. Well, what's the radius of the Earth? Who determined that? There is no R. Nobody knows what the radius of the Earth is.
Yeah.
Right? So again, there is a lot the flat earthers don't know, but we know that we don't know. Globe believers assume everything, have zero proof. We can see too far, okay? You can't have high pressure next to low pressure. You say gravity, think about this experiment. I got a shoebox in a room 10 feet off the floor, okay?
Yeah.
And it's open. And now I suck all the air out of the room from below the shoebox. Well, according to the globe gravity theory, all of the air in the shoebox should stay in the shoebox because gravity is going to hold it in. But we know that doesn't happen. You take the air out of the room, the air goes out of everything, no matter if it's an upside down shoebox or right side up shoebox, even a closed shoebox, right? Doesn't happen. These are all just nonsensical stories. Why do they have a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Why do the astronauts or the actor-nauts, I'll call them, have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? And here's our good buddy Buzz. Look at me. I'm an actor. Oops. Hold on a second. I gotta just plug myself in 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, I'm good. Sorry about that.
No worries. I mean, then you're leading obviously towards the connection between NASA and Walt Disney and Hollywood, and I think it's the fact that you're trying to prove something that is so elaborate, so out of there. So, you know, if it was 50 years ago, people would say, well, if it was before Area 51, people would say aliens aren't real. Now a lot of people are coming to the conclusion that they kind of are. What is your take on UFOs, by the way, before I dig myself a hole?
Yeah. So I'm gonna not take away aliens from you. I'm just gonna transmute it into something more reasonable.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, they tell us I'm going to give you, this is going to take a little thinking, but it's not hard math. Just follow me, hear me out.
Yeah.
Okay. They tell us our sun is 93 million miles away, right?
Yeah.
Our sun is a giant yoga ball and the earth is a BB next to it, or a marble, right?
Yeah.
So if I had the sun just a mile over your head, it would fill your entire sky, right?
Yeah.
I move the heliocentric sun. So now I move it 93 million miles away, and it's the size of a nickel held at arm's length, right? The size of a coin held at arm's length, just like we see it, correct? It reduced in size because I moved it away, and it got really small. Bam. If I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get? And the answer is, I think if I 3 or 4 times the distance, its angular size is too small to see. Okay.
Yeah.
If I made it 24 times as far, it is by magnitudes too small to see. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's look at Polaris, which is our North Star. They tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than the sun. So if I have the sun 24 times as far, that's 3 light hours, because the sun's 8 light minutes times 24, 3 light hours. Polaris is 48 times bigger. So an equivalent distance for Polaris would be 6 light days, right?
Yeah.
Nope, 48 times 3 hours, 6 light days. 6 light days away. Polaris is scientifically provably impossible to see, ignoring the brightness problem, because as you go farther away, things get dimmer and dimmer. Ignoring that, we can see Polaris with our naked eye, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's 6 light days away. You can't see it. And they tell us it's 433 light years away. This is just mumbo jumbo that people don't ever bother processing.
Yeah.
And so what are these lights that we see in the sky? Well, they're all here within the Earth system. We've sent balloons up that can see the stars before they take off. But when they get to 60, 70,000 feet, all the stars are gone.
Yeah.
All the stars are gone. So what are the stars? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And neither do you.
No. So solar system or not solar system, whatever's up there, is still in the flat Earth world unexplained.
In your world, it's unexplained.
Okay.
So yeah, anything above our heads is speculation, and anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is pure speculation.
Yeah. And what you used to believe people lived on the moon. What's the moon to you now? I heard you say obviously a reflection.
I think the moon is what do I think the moon is? The moon is a light in the sky. We don't know what it is. And when there's a new moon, that's when there's no light supposedly on the moon.
Yeah.
No one can see it. No one has been able to see it from anywhere, from any altitude, from the space station, which is fake, from the flying telescopes that they have, from infrared cameras. During a new moon, especially during a total eclipse, you should be able to see the entire sun. I mean, the surface of the moon, but no one's ever seen it. So is it really there? Okay. So the moon is, I think, the moon that we see is kind of projected into our reality. I don't want to say that's probably the wrong words. The moon that we see, I don't believe it's physical. There was a famous scientist in the 1950s talking about how the moon is a plasma.
Yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah. So very interesting. And he's been pretty much wiped out of existence. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, if you look at the moon, this is what we see when there's a full moon. It's bright enough to read by in the middle of the woods, middle of nowhere. Okay. It casts shadows on the ground. But when NASA, the liars at NASA, said, look, we, from our million-mile away, our satellite, we watched the moon transit go by the Earth. Well, why isn't it bright? It should be a full moon. Why is it a dim, dusty, dirty ball? Why is the Earth so bright? Why isn't the moon reflecting like we see the moon, right?
Yeah.
And the other issue is with the moon, they tell us the sun lights up the moon. There's times during the month where the light doesn't line up where the sun is. It's lit up incorrectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then another issue is when we look up on a cloudy night, spotted clouds, we look at the moon and it's just lighting up the clouds that are right near it.
Yeah.
Why isn't it lighting up the clouds that are over here?
Yeah, there's one thing I
Right?
find funny where the sun can, keep this whole entire planet alive, but you put a small cloud in front of it in England and you can't see it.
Correct. Exactly. and then people say, well, the moon's a ball. Look, is this first one a ball? Well, it's a half a ball.
Yeah,
How about the
yeah.
second one before he grabs it? Is that a ball? Have you seen this?
It's flat, that one, isn't it?
It's flat because,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you wouldn't say that if you hadn't
No,
seen
no,
this. You're doing your research. I just see the cognitive dissonance in your eyes. I'm gonna tell you and your audience the secret right now.
Yeah.
You're a flat earther. You just don't know it yet.
I mean,
okay?
to be honest, I'm always going to come from the consensus of a researcher, and I think there's so many parts from this conversation. You can explain a hell of a lot, but there's still a lot that needs to be explained. So, and also I'm a bit more of a person that I'd like to play Grand Theft Auto on the console, but I don't necessarily need to know how the console works, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So, because I think I'll put myself into a demographic then. So then I'm kind of like, look, let's just look at all the sides. But I like to research everything. I've been a conspiracy nut since I was like 12.
Good for you. Good
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
That means you're a critical thinker. You're looking into things.
Yeah, of course,
Take the
of
word
course.
conspiracy out of it.
Yeah.
The
Well, it's
conspiracy is two or more men working together to deceive others. Do you
Yeah,
think
it's
that
to
ever
conspire
happens?
against the truth. Yeah.
You think that ever happens or no?
Yeah. They're all theories, really, but yeah.
Well, no. The globe is the theory. The flat Earth is proven. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, if we look, if we can see, a ball 24,901 miles around.
Yeah.
Where was I saying? I was talking about I forgot where I was now. I was very excited.
Critical thinking and how not to use the word likely of conspiracy, obviously, to conspire against the truth. I did hear that the CIA brought out the word conspiracy.
That is one
as
that
well.
they brought through when JFK was assassinated or whatever happened there.
Yeah.
And they just made conspiracy theory. They weaponized it.
Yeah, of course. I also have you seen like the reading room with the CIA, where they released something like 6,000 documents from like the Gateway process, MK Ultra. Basically, every 40 years, apparently, the CIA have to release a load of information, which then, it was to do with energy, it was to do with chakras, it was to do with mind control. I mean, they're all over TikTok. I've looked into the reading room itself.
I've heard about it. Don't know a lot about it, but yeah, the CIA is into mind control. They MK Ultra. They do experiments on humans, and they still do them. They've just gone underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a picture from NASA.
Yeah.
And this is the picture of Devon Island.
Yeah.
Okay, please. And the NASA apologists will go, well, you just took the picture from NASA and added clouds and colorized it. Please. It's the other way around. NASA takes pictures and turns them into sepia tones.
But the only problem with that, right, is like with the ball situation, it's flat, it's round. Just because you can prove something can be a deception doesn't mean it necessarily is a deception as well, though.
If you catch NASA faking crap in space,
Yeah.
then you have to ask yourself, why are they doing that?
Of course. I mean, the main question to all of this is why. But I think putting NASA aside, there are obviously the other parts to it, with corporations, capitalization. I mean, next month I'm talking to a breatharian, a person that hasn't eaten for 19 years. He would believe that, you don't actually need food or you can live off breath. So that's even going even further. But it's when you
looked into the mud floods and into Tartaria?
No, what's that?
So what's that? Tartaria, what is that? Oh my God. Tartaria was a worldwide civilization.
Yeah.
That that was here in the 1800s,
Yeah.
far more advanced than we are now.
Oh,
And they have,
I didn't know the name, but
yeah,
I've seen a lot of it.
There's many castles, buildings that we couldn't build today that still exist, right?
Yeah,
They've been
yeah.
repurposed, but they didn't have any bathrooms in them.
Yeah.
Okay, like hundreds and hundreds of rooms, giant castles, no bathrooms. What were the people doing back then? Were they eating?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe they knew how to harness the energy of this world, and all the antiquitech architecture was pulling energy out of the ether. Maybe they were using that energy for food also.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
was that the one where they was building like fairs around the world? Was it that as well?
The World's Fairs.
Yeah,
in the app, if you hit the web button, middle row on the right, mud floods, open that. Here's a playlist of videos that will blow your mind. We keep adding more to the top of the list all the time. But if you start watching those videos, bring food and water because you're not coming out for a long time, right? And then if you find a video that, hey, I really like that, subscribe to that YouTuber's channel so you get all of his new videos. We can't put them on there. Just that button alone is a lifetime of rabbit holes that will. If you go down the Tatarian rabbit hole, you're never coming out. And for you, you're ready for this. If you're brand new to Flat Earth, I'd wait before clicking this button. Top right, Lost History of Flat Earth. Okay. The first one is parts 1 through 7. I say watch one part at a time because it's a 5-hour video. Right? So just watch one part at a time. And here's what I guarantee will happen. You will watch the entire video uninterrupted. If you get past the first 10 minutes, you're like, I can't turn this off. I can't turn this off. I didn't want to, I was like, 5-hour video. I'm not even watching this. And then one night at 11 p.m., I said I had a couple things to do. I was like, let me just watch the first few minutes of this. Next thing I know, it's 4 a.m. I can't go to sleep. My mind's exploded. And, that's that.
But then, like, I mean, you can get lost in these things at the same time. Do you ever feel that happens, or you feel like what is kind of the nail in the coffin for you? Are you going to do, kind of the end of the rabbit hole? Are you like, is it just to keep spreading this, the truth of it, or?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know what your view is on what's going on in the world right now. Do you think that there's some tyranny happening?
In what aspect?
In the control of society, are they trying to control us? Or are they trying to make us healthy?
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at like you've only got to look at the way health is. I think if you take away the shape of the earth, take away everything like that, and you look at the way pharmaceutical businesses to natural herbs or natural medicinal medicine, why is there so much evidence stacked up for marijuana, or MDMA curing PTSD? It's like all the good drugs for us, mushrooms healing depression in 4 or 5 hour sessions. We live in a capitalist society, especially in the Western world. So I definitely see there is deception from all kind of the higher powers that we're kind of shown or that do rule over the situation. It's just in a lot more cleverer way than the castles and the kings. So it doesn't I don't find, because I've looked into a lot of conspiracies and everything else, I don't think most things really faze me anymore. So if it's flat or round, it wouldn't faze me too much, but it's the fact that you're not looking at a government or a corporation. Well, you are looking at a corporation as NASA, but what you are looking at is, normal people within that industry. And it's just such a hard one to grasp that so many people within that would be deceiving everyone. But then I always say to some people as well, if a restaurant is going under financially and the chef is ill one day and the boss doesn't want anyone to know about the financial problems, then the waiters wouldn't know about it. So then in a lot of positions in corporations and everything else, then this deception could be a very tiny group. So that's kind of my point.
That's where we are. It is a very tiny group that's running this world. And every 100 years, they do what's called a reset. We're in the middle of the great reset right now. If we allow it to happen, this is why I've walked away from my own company to do this, to spread this information. This is why, luckily, this app that I've created is the best tool for helping people wake up, because it puts everything in the tips of your fingers. What I tell people every day, watch the daily video. Just one video a day. If you think Flat Earth is stupid, come collect your 3 Bitcoins, okay? 60 grand a piece. right? Watch the videos every day for 2 weeks, and at the end of that 2 weeks, if you still think the Earth is a globe, you haven't been paying attention. But send me a proof of the globe, and you win 3 Bitcoins. But the answer is, once you start looking, you'll end up like me. You'll end up as a full-on globe denier, flat plane, stationary plane knower.
But then at the same time, my only problem is that I'm not. I went to tell you a little story. I went to a festival in England, and it was a talk basically. So it wasn't like a party festival. It was basically all different tents, different talks. And the first one I went to was the theory of the universe. And you had a philosopher, you had a person that worked at CERN in physics. You had who else? I can't remember what this lady did, but she was very uptight and she got her point across quite a lot of the time. But basically, they all sat there. Oh, you had a cosmologist as well. They wasn't talking about the shape of the Earth, but what they was saying is that we are kind of at a point in the roadmap where we don't really know anything more. We're kind of stuck. And the main thing that was asked was, do you feel, being a scientist, that if you find out new information, do you feel that within your position you can actually put that forward? And most of them said it's pretty hard in our industry, one, to get grants on new ideas, and two, this one lady said that it's actually really difficult to, think about something you've worked with. Say you've been doing this how many years? Quite a few years.
You're making my argument for me. Keep going.
Yeah, but it's because I think you have to open your perspective. That even people that are sitting here that tell you they know in physics or cosmology this is this, they're still saying to me, oh, we're not too sure about the universe and dark matter and everything else. CERN just want to build a bigger machine. The guy said.
The reason I brought up this is the satanic system that we're in. CERN is not a good thing. It's not looking for the God particle. It's looking to break this realm. They're looking to escape this realm, right? And when what was the point I was going to make? The point you're making is, if you look at these cosmologists and these theoretical physicists, if they go outside of the narrative, they lose their funding, they lose their livelihood, they're now homeless. They lose their notoriety. So they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. If they come up with something completely different, they don't get published. And people go, well, where's your peer reviewed? Peer reviewed is the problem, okay? Because you're being reviewed by the people that have already made up their minds, right? And Edwin Hubble, I think it was Edwin Hubble that said it. He says that the idea that every scientific fact that, observation that we can do shows that we're at the center of the creation, if you will. But we can't have that. I think it was Hubble. Maybe someone else said it. But that's the idea of saying that is deplorable. So we'll make up anything to obscure it. So the reason that they're hiding the flat Earth, it's because they're hiding the creator. They're hiding the fact that we are at the center of creation. We're hiding the fact that, we are powerful beings and nobody has control over us. The only control anyone has over you is in your imagination, right? So here's the thing. Right now, they're trying to get control over us in all sorts of spiritual ways, energetic, spiritual, physical ways. And the most important thing in the world is our blood, right? That sounds a little crazy, but the elite know this. They do blood rituals. There's all sorts of stuff. If you go down that
you're
rabbit
going
hole,
dark now with the adrenochrome.
but yeah. Well, so I'm not even saying adrenochrome. Although, if you ask me, there's so much evidence of them doing blood rituals. Let's leave it at that. We'll just say blood rituals. Now they want control over our blood. Okay, they want to be able to stick things into our blood that are doing incredibly weird things. So
as in the vaccine wise,
well, I'm not saying anything about it. God bless Dr. Fauci. He's a god. Okay? All right. I don't want to. You'll get banned from YouTube.
Fair enough.
Just so you don't think that I'm this lone crazy guy, if you hit the handshake button, these are all the people that are on that are currently using the friend finder on the app. Where are you located?
UK.
Okay.
United Kingdom. Yeah, I did have a look. There's a few people around the corner.
A few people. Okay. Look at this. Right.
Yeah.
And there's dots on top of dots on top of dots here.
Yeah.
And then you can tap on any one of them and send that person a message. Right. and you could send group messages. Like this is our local 50 kilometers. There's 237 people. I could say, hey, everybody, going to the little pub Wednesday at 3 p.m. and then we'll overwhelm the place with flat earthers. It's a blast. There's so much stuff that you can do with this. So again, that is the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and I highly recommend everyone gets it. It's $3 to be able to send messages. It's $1 a month, okay? But you don't have to do it. Don't subscribe. Just get the app. Use the resource. Use the resources in it, and you know, you too will find out that the world isn't what they say it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did have a little look at the app yesterday as well.
You love it.
It's good, but I the thing is, there's not really a convincing situation here for someone that says I'm not quite a globalist either. I'm in the middle. I'm still in a research process of myself.
Perfect, because if you just believe me, that's just as bad as believing in the globe. You have to research yourself. But here's the question I ask.
But then I stumble where I'm not you know, a cosmologist. The thing is, they all work in their separate industries anyway. It's a bit political. They don't work together. Right. So, but, you know, I've looked at astrophysics papers. You know, it's mathematically, I'm dyslexic as hell. So I look at it, it's so bamboozled to me that I think, well, that's where you can fall down the rabbit hole of confidence in not knowing. That's the only thing that worries me with it, really.
Right. We're told stories, you know, like all of these guys, you know, they discovered the globe and that they're all made up stories. You have no proof that they even existed. All right. And then we hear about Aristophanes, and he says, well, he proved that the earth is flat, a sphere, because he measured on the right there. And he had no shadow, in Said on the right there. And then his buddy 500 miles away could measure the length of the shadow.
Yeah, he put a stick down. Yeah,
right. But on a flat Earth, it works the same. Yeah, right. A small local sun, bam, bam, same math, and it proves how the sphericity of this flat plane. Okay, we don't live on a math equation. Math is not reality. Math describes things if you put the data in it properly. Right. If you know, if I used a fake variable, like, all right, you have $10 million in the bank. If I quadrupled what you had in the bank, you'd have $40 million. Wow, you have $40 million. Problem with that equation is the assumption. Okay.
I heard a saying that God creates and science catches up.
I'd like that.
because in a way, maths is existent. I think things are measured. You know, the Egyptians, they measured in, what was it, cubic. You know, they one of their stones was a cubic. The whole thing was relatable. It wasn't inches; it was in cubics, and they called one of the stones that build the pyramid a cubit, a royal cubic. And then I think the circumferences are. Have you looked into the pyramids and the circumferences and everything on that?
Yeah. So the measurements of the pyramid, they say, you know, perfectly match the circumference of the ball. They also could match the northern.
It's a scaled model of the northern hemisphere. I think the large pyramid.
Yeah, it's possible. But again, they're just converting. You know, the ball is an amazing representation of the flat Earth. I mean, basically, they just took the ball model and they wrapped it around they wrapped it around a sphere, right?
Yeah.
So where is it? Why isn't that going up? Oh, here we go. So they took the flat Earth model and they wrapped it around a sphere. So when this unwraps, it'll show you, you know, what this place really is. This is the best representation that we have, which is the Gleason's map, right? So here's the Gleason's map, and when you wrap it around a ball, this is what we get. And the problem is, you know, if you look at the tropics, that bottom yellow line is now getting smaller on a ball, when in reality it's a bigger line, and that's provable. For people that have tried to circumnavigate. Here's the Gleason's map, right? And the Tropic of, I can't point because my thing is right
that's fine.
I don't like that. So, you know, when people have tried to, you know, here's a simple way to prove the Earth is a sphere. If you go to, where's Where is my? I'm looking for my map.
So do you think there's just outer wall? Beyond that, there's just outer lands. There's just extraterrestrial lands that we don't know about. I mean,
again, anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation. Many, people that say, well, the Bible's right. That's it. That the dome terminates, and we're here trapped in a dome. I don't personally believe that. I think that there is possibly more land out there. If you look at some of these depictions, well, this is extra land, extra territory, right? So if you lived on the extra territory in this outer area, what would you be considered by me living in here? I live in here in the inner space. You're an extraterrestrial from outer space.
Yeah. Inner and outer.
Right. So going back to my my analogy of how far planets are, the closest planet is star in the heliocentric nonsensical model is Alpha Centauri. It's 4.5 light years away. That's 25 trillion miles.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you believe that extraterrestrials are coming from planets going around other stars, the closest neighbor that we have is 25 trillion miles away. If you were traveling at a mile per second, no human has ever gone that fast, but if you're traveling a mile per second and you went for 1 trillion seconds, you've gone 1 trillion miles. Mile per second, 1 trillion seconds, you've gone 1 trillion miles.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've gone 1 trillion miles, you're 1/25th of the way to the closest star. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. How long is 1 trillion seconds?
I'm not sure.
Want to take a guess? I'll give you a Bitcoin if you guess it within
1 trillion
within a
seconds.
Day. Yeah, if you guess it within a day, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
All right, I'll get back to you.
No, right now. Good. You take one guess.
1 trillion seconds
is how long?
I mean,
5 seconds.
I mean, I just told you my maths is terrible.
Take a guess. Just take any guess.
20 years?
Very close. 31,000 years.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're traveling at an unfathomable speed of a mile per second, and you went for 1 trillion seconds, you're 1/25th of the way there, and then it's 31,000 years later. So now you got to do that 25 more times, and you're at the closest star. The other stars are magnitudes farther.
Yeah.
Okay. Let that sink in. They didn't teach us how to think like this in school. They made us just memorize and regurgitate. Most people don't have the brain capacity to process the impossibility of that. The angular size of these things that are so far away, we couldn't see them. And the inverse square law of light is light spreads out. It doesn't condense and get brighter. It spreads out and gets dimmer. Every time you double the distance to a light, it's 1/4 of the brightness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you cannot see stars the way they describe them at all.
No. I mean, I did see the other day James May, who, do you know Top Gear in the UK?
No, tell me about him.
Well, basically, it's like 3 guys that used to drive cars and get into loads of trouble. But what he did was go into a jet plane and fly. I think it was 70,000 feet. And he said something really weird at the end. Through what his experience was, he said, if anyone gets the chance to do that in their life, they should. And it will change their belief, their religion. It would change world hunger. I thought it was mad how he was saying it, but
I like it.
He said
I like
it.
This guy.
He said it in such. He's as British as they come. I tell you. But he said it in such a way where he was completely bamboozled about what he just did. And what it was, he flew. You could see the layer of atmosphere or the blue line, but it was completely black all around him, and that's what I was noticing. But I still come from the perspective, I haven't done 20 years in university or anything else through the textbook to understand this situation, nor can I see it through my logical brain anyway yet.
But from a lower flying airplane, and it's the same for him, but it's worse. The horizon should be 78,000 feet below you. But if next time you're in an airplane, if you ever get to go on an airplane again, you look out the left window, look out the right window, and draw a line, and it goes right between your eyes. The horizon rises to almost eye level, depending on, sometimes it looks lower because you just can't see that far, and it looks like sky because when air becomes opaque, that's sky. And so, that is.
But then it could be just that if you're going way out there, it could be that it's just all of this is just one mind, one hologram. You know, each mind sees its own.
Oh, you know what? Sure.
You should look into the reading room, the CIA reading rooms, because there is the Gateway project, which explains a lot of how the mind creates its own hologram.
One of the things that you mentioned, I think you mentioned satellites earlier, but if you didn't, let's mention them right now. You know, satellites, we're corkscrewing through space, and all of these satellites just stick with the Earth, falling around the Earth. They're not held on; they're just falling around the Earth. Even though the Earth is spinning, swirling, and rocketing, they somehow can stay right above the same point and land. Well, people go, I've seen satellites. No, you haven't. You've seen lights. Now, are those balloons? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know what they are. But if you think about the size of a satellite, here's a 747. You see the engine? See the engines on the 747?
Yeah.
Now, can you see the engine on the 747 that's up in the sky? The one that's at the end of this trail right here?
Hang on, my face is there. Hang on.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No, so right, you can barely see the plane, but you can't see the engine. Okay, satellites are 50 to 250 times farther away than that airplane. And people claim that they can see them in the night sky. That's impossible. You're seeing lights. What are they? Are they man-made? Are they natural phenomena? Are they balloons? Maybe yes to all of those.
But what about when you've got like the average Joe with a telescope? I mean, I saw the other day there's a guy on TikTok and he's got about a £20,000 home telescope, and he's looked at Saturn, he's looked at, you know, and he shows these pictures himself. What do you say to people that are doing that? I mean, they're not faking it. Is it that they can see a representation of what is there, or?
Well, first, when you're looking up at planets, this is what NASA shows us, and this is what NASA shows us. But when you look at it yourself, this is what we see. Okay, these are CGI images. Now look at Saturn over on the right over there. It has rings, and you can see the space. It looks spherical. Sure, it does, right? But I don't know what it is. But if it's reflecting sunlight, how are the rings reflecting the sunlight at the same brightness as the ball itself? Right? What is that? It is a light. It is something. And why are all the planets named after gods? Okay. All I'm saying is we don't know what planets are. I think there's something sentient about them, but I can't prove it. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, you know, planets are a whole nother thing. And people really see what they want to see. You know, when NASA shows you a planet, like what planet is this?
Oh, Saturn. No,
What
Mercury. Mercury.
No, Mercury or Jupiter.
Oh, Jupiter, yeah.
Or maybe it's just a meadow with dots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you'll believe anything you want. Like NASA, you just look. NASA discovers new planet, and then look at all of the images. They're all ridiculous. They're all nonsense, right? I one of these is a planet from NASA. Can you tell me which one it is?
Yeah, I can tell some of them aren't. Probably none of them.
Yeah, you're right. Very good.
Yeah.
You know me very well. They're all frying pan bottoms.
Yeah,
The bottoms
yeah.
of frying pans. So and this is better than what NASA's showing you. Just go Google NASA discovers new planet. Okay.
Yeah.
Every day NASA discovers a new asteroid. You know that every Halloween they find another asteroid that looks like a skull, and on Thanksgiving they found an asteroid that looks like a turkey. And it's absolute utter nonsense.
I also saw that they looked at 1 year of Elon Musk at SpaceX, whether that's fake or not. He still his yearly spending was 11 billion, and NASA's was 364 billion.
NASA gets $63 million every single day, supposedly. Right, that's just money that they're taking from us. And saying they're funding NASA. I don't think NASA doesn't even need like $5,000 a day. They're doing the stuff that they do is just all nonsense. It's all nonsense.
So
go ahead.
These are two different pictures then or not?
Well, so this is a picture, the famous picture from 2014, and then in 2016 they said, "Oh, look, we got a picture with the Northern Lights first. Look at that. Could you do better than that? I could use MS Word and do it better than this. You don't even need Photoshop. Okay? MS Paint.
But then they are,
look,
every
cloud is exactly the same. Look at the cloud. Every single dot is exactly the same. So they just made this one a little darker. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I've seen the Photoshop clouds. I've seen, on the person that actually photoshopped the clouds, and then but it's so hard to find the truth in all this reality. I think sometimes
that's the whole idea, and they constantly throw in these little clues and stuff. Part of it is revelation of the method. They want us to have a chance to see the truth, but they also want us arguing. No, that's real. No, this is real. No, that's real. Right?
Yeah.
But it's absolute insanity. This is they said a time lapse of the satellite approaching Jupiter. Maybe it was Voyager. I'm not sure. And look at these clouds going in different directions. The great dot, but nothing ever changes when they show us a still picture. It's always the same thing, right? It's always the same thing, right? And then when they show us pictures of Earth, they don't even say they're photographs. They say they're images and pictures because they don't want to lie, right?
Yeah.
But if I go measure, I can go from Baja across Mexico, and I can scientifically prove that it's 934 miles, right? They tell us the diameter of the Earth is 7,917 miles. Well, I should be able to fit 8.5 of those segments across between the two lines. But look, something's wrong. Where are the rest of the planets? I mean, the rest of the continents.
Yeah.
Okay, where are they? And when they show us, the blue marble picture, and then a couple years later they show us the other picture. What happened to the United States? I know we're getting fat, but where is the rest of the Earth? Where is the rest of the Earth?
Something that
picture right here.
Yeah.
All of those other continents are on the other side of this official NASA image.
Yeah.
Where all of the other continents are on the other side. Give me a break.
It is kind of crazy that there is one corporation that has led the world to believe their theory when you think about it.
Right.
I mean, because that's what you're kind of up against, right? If you want to get everyone to understand what they're really living in, to try and it's not a deception if you're saying that's true, but then if they're coming from a deception, it's a pretty hard task.
Well, and people go, what about the other space agencies? Why doesn't Russia rat us out, or China? Right? They're all in it together. Look at the symbols of their space agencies. They all have the same vector, imagery in it. They're all working together. The division. See, this is what it's all about. It's about division. They divide us up by countries. The world was united.
Divide and conquer. Yeah.
Yeah, divided by countries, religions, sexes. They're dividing the sexes now. They're the political parties. You got the jab, you didn't get the jab. They're just dividing.
Yeah.
Now they're muzzling us. Now they're telling us to stay away from each other. Now they're getting everybody to work remotely. They're separating us, and that's what keeps us human. That's what keeps us healthy. That's what life is.
Yeah.
And they're taking it away. It's all about depopulation. Okay? It's all about depopulation.
But a lot of these words, just before you, as soon as you start throwing depopulation, that word is straight to that throws people off, I find.
I understand. But do you know about the Georgia Guidestones here in America?
Yeah. So that they were written and
there are 8 different languages. And the number one thing, it says never let the population rise over 500 million again. Well, that's a problem. That's a 95% reduction if you believe the current population numbers. But just another quick thing, that little hole in the center there, that goes to
doesn't it show a star or
it shows Polaris. Do a time lapse, and Polaris never moves from that hole.
Yeah,
Polaris never moves from that hole, but we're corkscrewing through space, right? Traveling 4.4 billion miles every year into a new position, and Polaris never moves, right?
Yeah,
that's absolute insanity.
But then, what would be the scientist's answer for that? That we're moving along with the same space?
We're so far away. Yeah, that's it. We're so far away. Well, so far away you can't see it, but we're so far away that there is no parallax. But then again, they tell us that they can measure the size of the sun by its parallax with other stars 6 months apart when we're 186 million miles on the other side of the sun. That's ridiculous. But we have monuments like this that every year on 11/11. I think it's 11/11 at 11/11.
Yeah.
Right on November 11th at 11/11, the sun goes through all of these holes and lights up this memorial. I think it's on Veterans Memorial, and it lights it up. So we're corkscrewing through space, and every year the sun perfectly resets on the exact same minute of the exact same day. And lights us up.
Yeah.
That's impossible. The sky is a perfect clock, just like on my app. If the app shows you, where's my app?
I see you have the zodiacs as well. So
Yeah, so let me for those of you that don't know how this works, where's oh whoops, where am I? Got lost. Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am. So the sun goes around once every 24 hours. It keeps track of the hours and the days, right? I'll speed it up. The moon goes around. The sun laps the moon once every 28 days. So you'll see that the sun is catching up to the moon, and the moon phase is changing. And as it gets closer to the moon is getting its phase is getting smaller. So the phase and the position of the moon keep track of the weeks and the moons. They used to be called moons. Okay. And so then there's a new moon. Moon's gone. Nobody can see it. Where is it? I don't know. It's I don't think what we're seeing. I think we only see the light that comes off of these things. So then if I slow it down, I turn on the stars. The stars are also going in the same direction as the sun and the moon. The stars lap the sun once a year. So the sun will slowly move into the stars will slowly, the sun will move into a, let me just pull this up just so you can see a little better.
Yeah.
The sun will drift backwards through each constellation every month. And then next year, it'll just reset. The next year, same day, same time, the sun will be right where it is right now. Right. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. Right. And then if we look at how seasons work, you see that outer yellow line? We're actually approaching that right now. Where are you located? You're in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's getting cold there, right? It's getting miserable, right? Because the sun is far away. If I jump the sun forward to December, right? Now it's did I make it? November, December. So in December, the sun is on the outer yellow line. That's the Tropic of Capricorn. We're having our winter. Why Australia? Look, they're having their summer because the sun is directly over them. Okay?
Wouldn't that make, though, if you've got smaller rings, wouldn't that make
the sun go faster
or season smaller?
Well, no, because the sun goes around once every day. The optics of the sky. This is a longer discussion. Maybe we'll have to address it in another show.
I think we only had an hour anyway. So cheers for going over.
So let me just finish this up real quick.
No.
So Central America is having their summer. South Africa is having their summer because the sun is directly right over them. If I jump forward 6 months back to the Tropic of Cancer, Miami, Florida, it's super hot. Mexico, Southern California, super hot because the sun is directly over them. Now, here's something you say, well, if the sun was over the Tropic of Capricorn, it has to be moving faster. Well, if you are here, if you're in, let's say Florida, or anywhere in the United States, even in the UK, after the sun sets in June, it's still light for another 90 minutes or so, and sometimes 2 hours, right?
Yeah,
depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And that's because the sun is moving away and it's arcing around and it's kind of staying near you. But when the sun is all the way out in the Tropic of Capricorn, there's places like in South Africa and Central America, when the sun sets, 5 minutes later, it's pitch black. Now, these are at equal latitude. So in equal latitude south in December versus an equal latitude northern equal latitude in June, where the light lingers for 90 minutes to 2 hours. It doesn't in the south. Why isn't it exactly the same? On the ball, it would dictate it that it would be exactly the same, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that, yeah.
And it's one image I wanted to show you before. How do they, when we're talking about Antarctica, how do they guard Antarctica? Well, these are the islands. Oops, what's going on there? Why does it do that? Occasionally, that when I'm sharing it
won't come out.
Yeah, there it is. So these are all of the military islands that guard Antarctica. And so if you try to go there, they'll just deploy a ship, a drone, whatever, and they will turn you around. This is a heavily guarded part of the world that they don't want you to see.
What if you got a gliding drone that worked off solar panel as well, to just fly at an altitude
They would shoot it down out of the sky, and we don't have that. We don't have that.
You might be able to get one through though.
There's no GPS. There's no way to transmit. Like when we did the Red Bull space jump.
Yeah.
At 127,000 feet, they lost communications with them. They could barely talk to him. The radio communication was breaking up, but we can talk to a guy on the moon, 238,000 miles away.
Yeah, yeah.
Please, 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 please. Okay. None of that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
None of it makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Well.
So you got a lot of work to do, a lot of thinking to do. And I'm here. Listen, the app will save you. Like if you spent 500 hours searching internet, if you search flat Earth, whatever, you get the same nonsense.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Simon Dan, you get not Professor Dave. You know, you get all of these shills putting up straw man arguments to make you feel stupid for even looking into flat Earth.
Yeah,
and the app bypasses all of that. Okay, just go. You know what? You don't even need the app. Just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, and soon the Amazon App Store. And just go read the reviews, right? That'll turn you into a flat earther alone. Get the app, watch the daily video. And especially if you think I'm an idiot, your $3 is well invested because you'll win 3 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe. Just 1.
Yeah.
So you can find me at flatearthdave.com. There's a book Dave there. If you know anybody that has a show that needs to have this conversation, book Flat Earth Dave.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today, Dave.
All right, man. Thanks.
I'll hit
so
you
much.
up for the next time, man.
Yeah, all right. Let's give it a little time. And,
And
sure. watch the haters, because when you put Flat Earth or Flat Earth Dave or David Wiess,
it's fine.
Title, all the trolls will show up. But to watch these guys, I actually like when they show up because the only globe proof they have. Here's their top globe proof.
Yeah.
Dave's a moron. Dave's an app scammer. Dave just wants your money. Those are their best globe proofs. And then if you go to their channels, they have all of the globe proofs there, and by that I mean they have 0 content on their channel. Right. So these are bots and trolls that are paid to steer you away, because someone reads a bad comment, they're like, oh, you know, I don't want to feel stupid, so I'm just going to leave here, and I'm not going to use my God-given common sense, and I'm just going to believe nonsense.
Yeah, of course. Well, just to leave on that note as well, my this series is called What Reality Are You In? So, I mean, next week I'm talking to a philosopher of the mind and psychedelics. So my thing is really not just finding out whether the world is flat or not. It's just finding out the truth, and truth is what real reality is, right? So that's where I'm going with it. Whether that leads me to a flat earther or a globalist, or who knows, but I'll keep researching.
Well, here's the thing I leave people with. If you're still on the fence, ask yourself, what's your number one reason that the Earth is a globe?
Yeah.
And then when you can't find one, ask yourself why.
Yeah. No, of course. All right.
All right, Ryan. Thanks,
Thank you so much, man. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm not a flat earther. I don't know. Do you know? I bet everyone's like, that's fucking stupid. This is fucking stupid. I get it. But, you know, who knows? But I think that was a great show, let's say, of, there's definitely, I feel with that interview, there was definitely a lot that was already there, you know, with any opposing question. So, as you saw the video, I do want to talk to David again. We are going to talk again at some point when I've gone back into the rabbit hole and found out more about this perception of reality that some people have. You know, this all could be that we all have different perceptions, different frequencies, and we're all just seeing different things in our own realities. You know, who fucking knows, really? But it makes my job quite easy because there's millions of people to find that I can talk to with so many different realities and perspectives. But yeah, not quite a globalist, not quite a flat earthist. You know, I just know that the ground is beneath my feet and the air I breathe keeps me alive. So I can go with that one, but I'm not convinced on everything. You know, that's why I'm doing this, because I want to learn for the next 20 years, you know, because I missed out on school. But I really hope you enjoyed that interview. And again, if you can help out with the $1.99 a month on Patreon, that really helped me out. Like and subscribe, you know, Instagram, like, follow, tell your mates, get it out there. You know, I'm fucking funny. I'm trying to be funny anyway. I don't know if you find me funny, but I think I'm funny. And I hate when I say that at the same time. But yeah, I'm going now. But definitely, that was a mind blow. Oh, yes. Let me tell you about the next episode. So next episode is with a philosopher of the mind and psychedelics, which I'm talking to him for an hour and a half, but I think I could probably talk to him for about 24 hours with no sleep. Just because I have so many questions around this subject and the connection between the mind and psychedelics and its healing abilities, its subconscious abilities. So if that is something that interests you, I think through lockdown, mushrooms, were something that every drug dealer was getting in. So I think everyone, maybe in my circle, will know about them, may have done them. But if you got any questions, I will be doing... on Instagram, any questions you want to ask, please do let me know. Message me if you want to find out anything. I'm talking directly